Have some breaking news to bring you now. Constance Marten and her partner Mark Gordon have both been found guilty over the death of their newborn baby. They have both been found guilty of manslaughter by gross negligence. That's Constance Marten and Mark Gordon on your screens right now have both been found guilty of manslaughter by gross negligence. You will recall the pair went missing last January 2023, in fact. They were a mother and father. There was a police appeal for their whereabouts because they were concerned that they were missing with their newborn baby. It was understood that at the time Constance Marten had very recently been given birth, and a massive hunt was on. There was concern for the newborn baby and, of course, the parents' welfare at the time. It was later that the baby's body was found wrapped in a carrier bag in an allotment. Constance Marten and Mark Gordon found guilty of manslaughter by gross negligence. Our correspondent Ashna Harinag has this report.
The tiny frame of newborn baby Victoria, fragile and failed by her parents. Constance Marten and Mark Gordon risked her life to keep her all to themselves. This is one of the last times she'd be seen alive. This was the moment the manhunt for them began, after their car caught fire on a motorway in Bolton in January 2023. Gordon was talking to Mr. Hudson, who filmed this video.
The nearest rest stop.
He and his son had pulled over and tried to help, but it became clear the couple wanted to be left alone.
She sort of says, do you want to get on your way? And I said, no, well, we can wait a bit if you want. No, you'd be fine. We'll be fine now. So just as I'm walking back to my van, I put my hand on top of the baby's head. And I just said, God bless. And then got back into our van and drove off. Now, if I hadn't have touched the baby's head, maybe I wouldn't have felt the way I felt.
It's thought Mr. Hudson is the only person aside from the couple to have interacted with the baby.
It did lie heavy on me. I didn't like my thoughts at that time because I was still thinking, what if? What if the police had come? What if I'd have stayed?
The car had been packed full of clothing, food, notebooks and the placenta from the birth. What followed is the couple spending more than 50 days on the run, often using the cover of darkness to travel hundreds of miles across the country, living undetected, all with their newborn. They spent hundreds of pounds on taxis, travelling from Bolton to London to Essex and the south coast, before choosing to live off-grid in sub-zero temperatures. They ditched a buggy hours after buying it, and according to the prosecution, carried Victoria in a supermarket shopping bag instead. It was in this same bag that her body would later be found. For weeks, Miss Marten carried her around in her coat, hiding her from prying eyes. Their decisions, the jury were told, were selfish. They had been previously warned about the dangers of living in a tent with a newborn, but families say they had little choice and had to keep moving. This is Karen Satchell, Gordon's sister. She believes the spotlight on them was too harsh.
I think they were traumatised as a couple and didn't know what to do and deal with it. And it's very, very heart-clenching to find that. Can you imagine how you would feel? Nobody can actually imagine that unless they've actually lived it, and the trauma now that you're under surveillance and underneath all this scrutiny, and then the baby dies. It's like, wow, oh my God, what are we going to do now?
She says her younger brother had always been private about his family life. Karen had never met Martin.
I know he called me once and said he was with his girl and he's had another baby, so I was like, where is she? Bring her, let me see her, you know. But he says, yeah, one day I'll come by, but he never actually did show up. And when he does, he shows up by himself.
She found out the couple were missing at the same time as everyone else.
It came on the news and I saw the pictures of them. And we all kind of freaked out, like, call Mom. But we never would have found anything of the sort. I don't know what went wrong.
It was for the jury to decide whether Gordon knew right from wrong. The retrial heard extraordinary revelations about his past offences as a teenager in the United States.
He did get 40 years imprisonment even as a 14-year-old and was released after 22 years. He went into a neighbour's address and he was armed and he attempted to rape her. And then on another occasion he went into another property armed, but there was a male occupant this time.
That man was Patrick Nash.
I had my yard tools out on the back porch. He came in with a shovel and he attacked me with a shovel.
Speaking from his home in Florida, he recalled the night an armed Gordon broke in.
My wife always had premonitions of somebody standing at the end of our bed, and she would wake up screaming, and I'd have to calm her down. But this particular morning, she woke up and there was somebody there. So as I was getting out of bed, I was attacked. I had to go have stitches in my scalp. I think I got like between 12 and 17 stitches or staples. We were both upset, you know. It was very frightful. We didn't sleep well for quite some time.
Gordon met Marten in 2014. Victoria was the couple's 5th child. The other 4 are all now in care.
Right, where's your child?
When they were eventually arrested at the end of February 2023, both repeatedly refused to answer questions about the baby's whereabouts.
You're under arrest for child neglect.
Where is your child?
With Gordon more focused on trying to eat food he'd just bought.
Put the stuff down. We're going to put you in cuffs. And then we will talk about you eating.
Let me have my food.
2 days later, baby Victoria's body was found in a shopping bag inside this shed, covered with rubbish and dirt. A jury has now found that her parents' actions led to her entirely avoidable death at just a few weeks old. Ashna Harinag, Sky News.